This video is brought to you by Gamersubs. Use code MHB at checkout for 10% off your next order. I can't be the only one who, when a new game releases or I'm trying to think about which game I want to platinum next, I immediately run to PSNProfiles or PowerPyx. Wherever there may be a guide or general trophy list breakdown to see what type of mess I might be getting myself into, and based on that I'll decide if that is a game I want to pursue the platinum or 100%, or if that's maybe just a game I play to play. Now, I've been back in the trophy and achievement hunting grind mindset for about 18 months now, going from 7 platinums to, as of me recording this video, 81. So whereas in the beginning I wasn't completely sure about what types of trophies I enjoyed or didn't, now I have a much clearer idea, and through that I do now look for and see red flags that will, if not make me completely avoid the game, then more so have me concerned before jumping in. I will still go after and complete games with these types of trophies, but it again just gives me pause, and I wanted to talk about them today to let you all in on the ways I think when planning content for the channel, and just more so what I enjoy and look for in a platinum grind versus what I try to avoid. First and foremost though, I do want to exclude some trophy types, and the main one on that list is beating a game on the hardest difficulty. I have no issue with these types of trophies, most of the time, and I'll get to the exceptions in a minute. But just simply for a recent example, beating Mafia on classic difficulty I had no problem with. I found it to be a good challenge. The difficulty was unlocked right off the bat, which is a must for me as I hate unnecessary playthroughs. It made for a satisfying journey through the main story, and overall I think it added a lot to my enjoyment of getting the platinum trophy. So just because a game has difficulty trophies doesn't worry me or make me second guess going for that game, and most of the time it only enhances my feelings towards the game when it's all said and done. But to the actual list, and first off the bat is one I think a lot of people feel the same way about: multiplayer trophies. Now I do have to clarify, if I'm jumping into Battlefield, Call of Duty or Overwatch for instance, it sort of comes with the territory, right? That's what I expect, but the trophies I'm talking about are for the primarily single player offerings that had tacked on multiplayer, which I feel was a scourge on the early to mid 2010s. The main problem I have with these types of trophies sort of ties in with another issue I have, and that is I don't like boosting either. Setting up a time, trying to get enough people involved, or just to mindlessly grind in a dead multiplayer offering just sounds miserable. There's a reason you don't see a lot of multiplayer offerings on my channel outside of co-op, which is a little different simply by relying on fewer people to help or simply plugging in a second controller in some instances. But for games I love like Assassin's Creed, Black Flag or the Tomb Raider reboot, to name some games I've thought about covering, those multiplayer grinds have put me off because I just feel I could spend my time elsewhere relying on myself as opposed to trying to set up a lobby with the sole intent of getting trophies. That's the thing about boosting too. It's not like we're just playing some multiplayer for a bit of fun. It's about getting the trophies while you have the people there to help and then getting out. So multiplayer trophies, especially in older titles with dwindling player bases, are a big red flag for me personally. This next trophy type though, I do view as just a common evil in the platinum and achievement hunting community. No one really likes them, very few games do them correctly, and almost every game has them, and that's collectible trophies, in particular missable collectible trophies. Now, as I said, this is just something seemingly every game has at this point. I don't think I've platinumed a game this year, in fact, that hasn't included some form of collectible. But again, they can be done right. For example, Crash Bandicoot collecting the gems is a great form of extra challenge. Games like Bioshock or Control, the collectibles add a lot to the world and the story. Even the LEGO games have some collectibles that unlock some fun bonuses. But it's the collectibles that feel like they're just there to be collected that rub me the wrong way, especially when there's hundreds of them. Assassin's Creed, Mafia, Ghostwire Tokyo, to name some we've covered on the channel, just have too much collecting, and that makes going for these platinums tedious to outright brain rotting. But again, they're almost an unnecessary evil that every game has. It's the missable collectibles that truly bother me because they make the entire playthrough a stress fest. I've thankfully only played a few games that have such a feature so far in The Medium and South Park: The Stick of Truth. But literally, not only are the collectibles sort of whatever, like they're not bad, but they just sort of there, but you have to worry about not missing a single one, otherwise back you go to the start for a whole new playthrough. It's just such a daunting task, especially when you know it's not uncommon for tracking systems to miss one or a bug to happen, even with a guide, and even though you did it all correctly, it doesn't matter. Collectibles I don't love, but I can just accept that's a portion I'll need to turn my brain off for. Missable collectibles genuinely make me second guess a platinum. Now the last trophy type I have here that I think we can all agree is straight doo-doo is anything RNG related. Any trophy related to obtaining something with random odds is always a frustrating process simply because it can be obtained in a single try, or have you standing around doing the same thing for hours and hours, and that's just never fun. Like recently we've been going for the Demon's Souls Remake Platinum on stream, and as a part of that process we need to grind certain enemies to drop certain items before progressing. And again, some of these we got relatively quickly. Let's go! And others took me literally close to 100 attempts. If there's only one or a couple of these trophies in a game, I usually just accept it. Don't give it too much mind, but any more than that is a huge red flag outside of the roguelite/like genre, which is all just straight RNG to begin with, and you know that is the type of game you're getting into. Outside of that, don't love these trophies. We started off this video with what I believe are pretty much the consensus for trophies people don't enjoy and would probably avoid, but the remaining types of trophies I have here might not be as highly agreed upon. With that being said, another trophy type I do actively try and avoid is multiple playthroughs. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about 2 playthroughs or 1 normal playthrough and a New Game Plus playthrough. I still don't love it, but I'll suck it up, and it doesn't usually push me away from attempting a platinum. More than 2 playthroughs is where you more often than not lose me though. There are exceptions, but I still don't love it, like Dark Souls for instance, where you have to get to New Game Plus just to have the resources to unlock all the weapons, since you need to use the resources in earlier playthroughs on spells, miracles, and pyromancies. But there's games and series I love that because of too many playthroughs, I just simply doubt I'll ever cover, like Devil May Cry, to games that don't stack difficulty trophies, which was a big thing for PS3 games. I just don't like playing through the same game over and over and over again in a short period of time, as it just becomes tedious more than anything. Yes, the more you play, the shorter the playthroughs become through basic skill and practice, but not enough for me to warrant playing one game so much when in that time I could play and platinum more titles. This next trophy type is another one that really gets in my head before attempting a platinum journey because it's a skill that I possess in very few games, and that is speedruns. Now again, I have completed some games with these types of trophies like the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, time trialing each level in each game, and Hot Wheels, which again has single level time trials to complete. That's where I differentiate speedrunning trophies, because trying to get the best time I can in a level, I can do that, and it's a lot easier to practice. What I am more so talking about is beat the game in under however many hours. You see these types of trophies a lot in the Resident Evil games, for example, and it's why I haven't tackled one of those games yet, because even though I believe with practice I could achieve it, it just gets in my head before I've even begun. Like, I just think about the absolute mood killer failing a speedrun by a minute or 2 would be, and raging, and it just puts me off, especially when they typically tie in with getting a certain rank or whatever else. This one's more of an avoid now, but I'm sure once we completed one, I'd be more confident with completing another type of situation. But right now, entire game speedruns are a big avoid for me. And lastly, probably a type of trophy that I do just straight up avoid at all costs at the moment, but would like to attempt at some point, anything to do with a no death playthrough, especially when tied into either a higher difficulty or just a straight difficult game. This is that exception I was talking about in the beginning, and yes, immediately the game that comes to mind is Wolfenstein 2, but also games like The Evil Within with Akumu mode and Super Meat Boy and beating each world individually without dying, which are just slightly more lenient versions of that type of trophy. Now again, I have no issue with the challenge in my platinums, and I have no doubt beating these types of challenges is a rush like no other. I mean, it probably gives you a hard on like nothing else, or at least that's what I'm guessing pushes sandwiches and those types of maniacs. But for me, that's just a whole new type of stress and anxiety. And even though I can't rule out potentially going for such a trophy because, I mean, it is juicy content, it's something I can't imagine is good for my health, as you've seen how I react to lesser challenges. I like what these trophies hold for said games and make those platinums extremely coveted, but for me, at least right now, they do just scream avoid at all costs. And just like that, you know a little bit more about what makes me tick as a trophy hunter. With all that being said though, there are very few games I'd outright say no, never happening to going for the platinum, but on a regular basis I do try and avoid these types of trophies unless it's involved with a game I absolutely adore. But enough about me. If you made it this far into the video, I want to know some of your least favorite trophies to go after and why. Make sure if you did enjoy the video to leave it a like because it helps let me know that you enjoyed yourself. Plenty more platinum videos in the works. We're getting after it in 2024, trust me. Thank you to all my channel members for that extra level of support, and special thanks to those in the Bear Club: Gene T Puppy, Jackie White, Nugget, Dark Wolf, Daniel Fitzgerald, Scott Unwin, Steel Vanguard, NPO Crusader, Zafado, Marcel, and Nef. It really does mean a lot to me. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, go give my socials a follow if you fancy, at MayorHairBear. Join the Discord server to have a chat, go and chuck me a follow on Twitch if you want to see some of these platinum journeys live, or MayorHairBear VODs if those pesky time zones don't line up for you, and I'll catch you all in the next video.